Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to the first review of the month of February. I need to just check what the date is anyway. I'm pretty sure it's like for those who are a little bit under the underwears right now, is that let's see, what is the date? Saturday. Okay, so today's Saturday the 4th. So this will be going out on the 5th anyway. But allow me to explain for any first-time viewers about exactly what's happening now. My life is very, very quickly becoming a little bit out of control, ladies and gentlemen. So, for prosperity's sake, and so that people know what they were in for, I decided I would just do sort of like a weekly review of how things have gone, and what things we could look forward to, and what things I am going to do my best to try and achieve for. Somewhere in that mass of words, there were things that made sense. So, first of all, let's talk about how this week went. Now, it started off really interesting because on Monday was the only day I actually had to go into work because I had taken the next 5 days off. And that's not including Sunday. Sunday, that there's no work anyway, so that's kind of how I've always scheduled my days off, is that if it was for like 5 or 6 days, then it would always begin on the Monday and I would have the Sunday off anyway. So that's technically 7, well, technically 8 if you're counting the Sunday that already went. So all works out from there. Because 2 years ago, that's exactly what I did. I took 6 days off work starting so that I did loads of things that week, and that when Sunday came around, which would have been my 23rd birthday, I was just be able to relax and just enjoy and do whatever I wanted to do. Oh, and also, one of my work colleagues was sick with COVID. The first case we'd ever have of somebody from work catching COVID, so we had to shut the office for the day. So that was technically 9 days off work I had, which was very, very strange, but I enjoyed it. It was all the same. It was chill. It was frosty, but it was a really, really clear day. I must also admit that Sunday the 31st of January 2021 was probably the very first time that it ever snowed on my birthday. It's never ever snowed on my birthday before, and certainly not last year, which was on the Monday, or this year, which was on the Tuesday. So on the Tuesday, I went for my last period of 2-hour driving lessons with my instructor before my test, which would be the next day, but we'll get to that. The test went over. Well, the lesson went over. We went driving around Blythe like we done for the last couple of weeks. It's interesting. Ever since my paper round came to an end in early November of last year, the thought of like getting up before 7 in the morning is such a strange experience, and because I've gotten so used to like lying into at least like maybe 25 past 7, and it's almost a maddening thought to have to get up that early as that anymore. So I don't know. There's probably going to be occasions later on in my life where I'll probably have to get up before 6:30 or something like that. So I can't pretend that this is one of those things that I'm just going to like stop doing. But this is a big one. The rest of my birthday was just kind of like me going into town, like going to the library, chilling, doing a little bit of window shopping. Also because I needed to get some things I desperately needed, like some new socks and new underwear. So it was mostly spent doing that. And we had a family lunch at the Alchemist. And it was probably the only day so far this year I've actually lapsed on being a vegetarian. And also, I did have a drink on Tuesday anyway, but you know what? It was not nearly as bad. I think, again, I say I've gone sober now for like, in total this year, about 35 days so far this year. And even just like having one drink, really, it didn't lead to anything else. I hold my own, and I didn't really fall into any of old traps. So all in all, I think that's perfectly fine. I haven't had a drink since, and I haven't had a drink before. So I think that is that okay? Again, I only had one, and it was like this raspberry ripple cocktail that had like gin, spritzo, and like you poured in your own prosecco inside, which was the only really out gin. Yeah, it was gin, tonic, caprezzo, fairy liquid. It was something else. It's a mad place, the Alchemist, and I had a friggin' the surf and turf there. They do is fantastic. In fact, because the prawns actually the tempura prawns that they served with, because they came late, they just charged us for the steak. So that's a good deal as well. It's the first time my family has also been to the Alchemist with me, and they absolutely love the place. That my mother had this French dip steak sandwich, and the sauce there, that it was like a truffle gravy sauce. It was nothing like she'd ever had before, and you could see like her face. I've never seen my mother get so excited for gravy in my life. But you know what? So be it. She loved every second of it, especially when the waiter came around who because they had little stalks of rosemary stabbed into the sandwich, and then the waiter just sort of like charred them a bit, so like the smell of the rosemary just waft into your face. And I've had the steak sandwich before. It is absolutely to die. In fact, I had it with opened it up and poured the truffle sauce in, and it was like you wouldn't believe. If ever there was a place to recommend to eat out in Newcastle, absolutely the Alchemist. That's where you want to go. Drinks there are phenomenal. Staff are even better than that. The food is absolutely to die for. And because my dad also had the same, well, he just had a normal steak and with the sauce and the salad, and it was like he genuinely did that. It was like, I'm not kidding. That steak that I had that day, possibly the best steak I've ever had in my life. But then again, going without meat for all throughout January, I would have literally gone for anything. I probably would have gone for a horse's hoof if I ever had to, and if it was on the menu, and if it was as good as they said it would be. So yeah, the rest of February to go, and well, I'm sort of skipping ahead a little bit, but there's still the rest of February to go without meat and without drink. Might be a bit more interesting, perhaps, mostly because I know I can actually get through most of it anyway in January, so there's no reason why I can't get through it in February. So we'll have to wait and see, and especially because the season of Lent actually begins roughly around about halfway into February, so there's an even more incentive to give up or do even more, and I'll get to speaking more about that when the time comes. But later on that day, on that Tuesday, my hometown, Newcastle United, we actually made history by getting to Wembley, to the Carabao Cup final for the first time. Isn't this like our first cup final in 45 years or something like that? It's got to be somewhere close to that, because the feeling in the house was like, I've never seen my dad look more nervous in his life by sitting down and watching a game of football, and because of the celebration, and because the cup final is actually happening round about the date of my mum's birthday, and since both me and my dad and my mother are going to London anyway during that time, they're actually going to go to the cup final. They are going to Wembley, and it's going to be my dad's 7th time going to Wembley. The 6 other times he's watched Newcastle lose, but this could be it, ladies and gentlemen. This could easily be it. This could be the season where Newcastle brings something home, because my dad says he wants to at least watch Newcastle win at least one more time in his life, because the only other time when they have brought something home was when my dad was only 5 years old, and this was like in 1964, I believe it was. And it would be a dream come true for him. So that would be something and a half, that, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. The next day, ladies and gentlemen, however, now I have to admit something. That Tuesday night, I slept possibly one of the worst night's sleep I've had for a very, very long time. I dreamt that I was driving normally, and then every single nightmarish scenario you could imagine for a driver would happen. signs would tell you two different things. Lights would be flashing green, red, and all the traffic would be stopping and starting, and some would be speeding completely out of control. The highways would be nearly 7 lanes in length, but then they would narrow out to either 3, sometimes even just 1 lane, and then these huge HGVs would just pass in both directions as well. So you had no idea what real side of the road you expected to be on, because it was like one of those scenarios where like the rules changed every single second and barely anybody could keep up. But curiously enough, I actually did manage to adapt to all those, like, what? It's the sort of journey that only a driver who had 5 hands and 3 legs would be able to do, because you would have to balance out clutch control, changing the gears, steering, checking every single side of the car, one of those things. But that next morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I have to also let you know, Wednesday the 1st of February, this handsome young 25-year-old literally was like, because there was national action, there was industrial action going on that day, and 100,000 civil servants from across the country were going to go on strike, and nobody was quite certain whether or not my test was even going to go ahead at all. So they said that, my instructor has said that to call Blythe Test Centre at about 8 a.m, since that would be the only indication that they will be able to tell you yes or no. As it turns out, Blythe now, they must have like changed the rules overnight, because the test centre doesn't actually open till 20 past 8. And for anyone who's ever taken a driving test before, you have to arrive at the test centre 30 minutes before the test begins. So we had literally no other option to get down to Blythe and wait around. But luck of all luck, we actually did manage to get the test underway. And then I found out something very, very interesting from my instructor afterwards. Is that the instructor they gave me, he is basically the Chuck Norris of driving instructors. And listen, there used to be a guy who worked in my place of work. He was a team leader, and he moved away to a different place of work. Well, just like a different office about 4 or 5 months ago, I think. Anyway, the point is that the instructor was tall. He was actually quite well built around about like the shoulders and the arms and stuff like that. He had a much better short beard than I did, more of a goatee, mustache, and he had this really dark circular glasses that like the light, when it like anything, it just bing and it will get straight into somebody else's eyes. This guy looked like like I said, Walker Texas Ranger. He didn't look exactly out of place in, let's say, a deputy's office in Houston, perhaps. And even the way he dressed as well, because he had to wear like those high-vis jackets with the cameras on one of the pockets that you see police wearing nowadays. And we did the test, and we got back, and he said I passed. He said I passed my test. And he just went through the normal protocols that they always have to give whenever you pass a test about you get your full driving license about from 2 to 3 weeks. If it doesn't call, just call the number on the back of my pass certificate. You collect 6 points on your license. You'll have to do your theory and your driving test all over again. And all hope for the best, to make sure that you don't have to come back here again and stuff like that. Anyway, so I found out from my instructors that this guy was notorious for absolutely making sure, if you were not 100% ready and you were not 100% absolutely certain of what you were doing, no chance. And which must have said quite a lot about how I must have done, because I passed all the same. The only real difficulty I kind of like had is that when I was doing like the reverse, the parallel parking, because the reverse parallel parking, because my and I've suffered this for like nearly 12 odd years, is that my left leg would just like vibrate and just go all out of control. So it was like it was very, very difficult to actually balance the clutch on the car. But I cooled myself down. He even said to us, if you're feeling nervous, just, take your time, but, let's not hang around all day and stuff like that. And we did it. Well, I did it, and yeah, I even think even on the email they sent to us that I only had about like 6 faults throughout the entire test. So, for those who don't know, is that in the UK, if you get 15 minor faults, that counts as a fail, and they do have a system of like major faults, and if you get like more than one, it's an automatic fail, from like parking outside somebody's drive, or pulling out and forcing somebody to slow down. That's basically a fail right there. Fortunately, like I said, none of these things happened, and I got through it. It only took me 2 attempts, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now ready to drive. In fact, also, it was probably for the best, actually, that I did pass literally the day after I turned 25, because because when you turn 25, at least in the UK, the insurance goes down quite considerably, and that made me feel a lot better, knowing that I absolutely wasn't going to have to pay as much for the insurance. But you know what, that's how it is. Now, again, with that being said, I've known people since I was still in secondary school, when I was like 18 and that. There were guys I knew from school who were already driving by that point, but you know what? If they could afford the insurance, that's absolutely their thing. And again, the people I was with, they were very safe drivers as well. Well, again, because I know them for that long and all that, but it's quite a different experience when your safety is in their hands, if that makes sense. We even went to McDonald's once, about like April of 2016. I will never actually kind of forget that, to be honest, because it kind of felt like, it was almost like a graduation. So like, we may as well do this now because we might never do it again. It's a bit like, I don't know, maybe doing like marijuana for the first time or something. I don't know. Still, memories anyway. Now, the rest of that day was just kind of like me having to like process all of this. I even went to my office later, like literally about like an hour later, because I wanted to showcase to my mates at work that I passed, and it was like, shit on, and I passed. And then I went into town, I had lunch, watched the teacher protests outside Gray's Monument. I stood there for literally like nearly 35 minutes, and went home after that, had a talk about what we should do about the insurance, made a few videos, and then went to bed at about 20 past 8 at night. I was like, absolutely. Also, but that wasn't really like the end of it, because I'd kind of had a little bit of a celebratory sort of thing after my test. And if you've kind of noticed about why my face is so red, well, it's probably also got to do with the fact about why my skin is so red as well. Yeah, I went for a tan, ladies and gentlemen, and I stayed in that thing for literally 15 minutes, and, well, the good news is that it's basically almost destroyed my acne. The bad news is that's given me prickly heat, and it's made it very, very difficult to sleep for the last few days. Now, the good thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that I've still got about like 6 or so tokens that I can still use for tanning and that. I think I'll have like 5 minutes one day, a break, and then 5 minutes the day after that. Because in all honesty, it has actually done a lot of good for my back, for the acne on my back, on my shoulders, around my legs and stuff like that. So it's not that and also bear in mind, it's literally February, so I had to do something to get rid of all of this, the destruction of my body, because the acne, I used to have like a spot, a nasty one here, something on my neck as well, and on this side, on the back of my neck, and gone, ladies and gentlemen. and that kind of really sets into it sets things in motion about how powerful sunlight, or at least UV light, really is. So if I can literally keep this up throughout February, or at least, you know, in safety precautions, and also putting plenty of sun cream on, absolutely, I'll be the best looking in the office anyway, because of, you know, my tan, I suppose. And you know that they do say is that guys who drive are a lot more attractive than those who don't. Yeah, who are we king, ladies and gentlemen? That's an absolutely absurd idea. Anyway, Thursday, I just kind of relaxed, made videos, had a lie-in for like the first time in many, many months. Got up at 10, showered. I might probably have a shave tonight, actually, the more I think about it. And started writing, making more videos, and even writing the scripts for elongated videos that I wanted to do for the next couple of weeks. Because I think it was Thursday, is that I uploaded a video I kind of always wanted to make for a while, and that's like a review of the analytics of my YouTube channel throughout January. Because this year has sort of got off to a very, very good start. I wanted to showcase to people exactly how good things have turned out and about the goals I've set myself going forwards. And I'm delighted to say, ladies and gentlemen, things are really good, are really starting to go ahead. And I put a lot of effort into this video as well. I utilized YouTube Studio, Social Blade. I did a lot of editing, put in a few clips here and there of like things out of context. I put in text. I explained things in a way that were easy to understand, and it was just kind of like, because to be honest, I don't think I can ever remember really seeing. I know like vidIQ probably does like a lot of videos where he talks about like the analytics for his videos and his channel for stuff like that, but I kind of just did it because I wanted to showcase exactly the sort of progress that has been made. And like I said, I was absolutely going to make this sort of like a monthly tradition on this channel to do a video like that. And I think it's worked out tremendously well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now on Friday, I'll get back on track. Friday, I just kind of like relaxed because this week has been busy and chaotic, exciting, rewarding, sizzling, and not so much overwhelming, but this is the good kind of overwhelming. The sort of things that have happened that you're glad you've done, and the amount of things you've done. So I've got no reason to be upset about that. So what's going to happen today, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to... Ironically, the thing I want to do more than anything today is just to sit down and just to make videos. And what I want to do is make approximately maybe something near close to about maybe 20 videos today, and maybe another 20 tomorrow. Because if I do that, ladies and gentlemen, it means that's the entirety of February accounted for. Not to mention, and if I just go through my my diary just for 1 second, the second I get those done is the second I can actually get focused on. Here we are. Those 6 videos I wanted to do for the end of Chinese New Year, which will be on the 9th of, which will be on the 9th, which will be Thursday. Then on Sunday, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, which will be the Super Bowl special. No prizes for guessing which team I'm supporting. Then 2 days after that, it'll be Valentine's Day, and even by that point, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be having enough videos to get through almost into International Women's Day, which will be the 8th of March. So that's quite a feat, ladies and gentlemen. It's not wrong. It's kind of a feat. It's absolutely an insane idea. However, the more I think about it, I think the season of Lent might begin on the 1st of March. or it might begin slightly before that. Maybe like Tuesday 21st or something like that. So that's the plan, ladies and gentlemen. Make, bake, create, fake, recreate, and demonstrate. That's what we're going to do, and it would certainly give certainly relieve my mind a little bit of the certain things that have got to happen as well, because there's videos I want to make for my other channels, because I want to get those off the ground as well and start making like a diary for that as well. So there'll be things to focus on, things to work on, and you're basically looking at a one-man production company right here. Am I a little bit over my head about doing something like that? I'm not sure. Maybe we'll know when the time comes. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I thank all of you so much for checking out this review of this week, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys again for next week and for our next video. Because like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a bit tough so far, but things are gonna get tougher and a lot harder. But so am I. Because like I said, this year has got off to a great start so far, and I did it, ladies and gentlemen. Whether people like it or not, I did the test. I passed. If I could do that, then who knows what's in store. So take care, and I'll see you guys very, very shortly. Bye bye.